Steve here, Shen RC. And I have the 8-tooth pinion gear in here. 505 RC had a problem. He wrote on one of his videos. He said the gear didn't mesh, but I was trying to tell him how to install it. The gears mesh perfect. Just look at mine. This is nothing on, just the stock car. And it rolls down very freely and smooth. The reason why it's whining like that, because the gear ratio got so much lower. I actually found the 7-tooth pinion gear, and I was thinking maybe of trying to fit that in there, but I don't know, because this is I don't want it to go slower than walking speed, and I think if you put the 7 in there, it might be kind of slow. If you guys want me to try the 7-tooth pinion, let me know, and we'll see. But anyhow, it works with the 8-tooth ARP pinion gear. It's perfectly smooth. This thing runs smooth. I'm just going to show you a few tips I found out about this drivetrain, the gearbox, and the way the spur gear goes on. I'll show you that next. I'm going to show you what I learned about the spur gear on this truck, on mine anyhow. If you bottom out the nut on there even loosely, just so it's bottomed out, you'll see when it spins, the gear goes like that and wobbles. And what that does is makes the mesh go from easy to get really hard, then easy, hard, so your truck's like rah, rah, rah. So what I found is you set the mesh, you turn it to where it's hard, and then you loosen it up and you set the mesh to that spot, and then also unloosen the nut on the spur gear and make it so that you loosen it up enough so the spur gear wiggles, like rocks back and forth like this. Say the spur gear straight like that. You want it to wiggle back and forth a little bit. Play with it like that, and you'll see when you get it to wiggle a little bit, it lets the teeth run flush flat against each other, and it gets butter smooth. So that's what you gotta do when you're switching pinions and stuff. And also when you put in the 8-tooth pinion gear, you gotta make sure you gotta cut this over here off and grind. It's hard to see. You gotta grind above the motor so the top of the motor doesn't hit the top plastic plate that holds the ESC on, because if you don't grind it, or you don't grind enough, what happens is the motor gets pushed down and the mesh of the pinion gear don't mesh, and it's really grindy, noisy, and not smooth, and that's what happens with this rig. So if you do them steps, loosen up that so it rocks the spur gear a little bit so it flushes smooth onto the other one flush, and also cut this or grind it out with a Dremel so your motor doesn't come nowhere near the back of that plate. It's got to clear it, because if it touches and pushes down, like I said, you're going to get bad gear mesh and it's going to sound like junk. Mine's working very smooth. It's just the lower gear ratio on it now, and it makes it sound funny like a crawler more because it's a low gear ratio. Because when I actually give it gas and stop now, it stops like a drag brake because of the gear ratio's lower. And like I said before, I found a 7-tooth pinion gear, ARP. If you guys want me to try to fit that in there and get it to work, I'll try it. Just let me know down in the comments. But even though if I try it, if it's too slow, I may not like it, because I want this rig to go like walking speed, a little bit faster, so if I'm going somewhere I don't have to like crawl with the thing. I hate that. It's not a rock crawler, it's a scale truck. It should go faster than you could walk. Anyhow, that's the tips. That's what you gotta do to get the smooth gear mesh and to work with the ARP pinions, or any pinion that you find. You have to do that if it's smaller. And your truck will work smooth as butter. Please sub and like. I appreciate the support. And I'll see you next time, guys.